Okay, so we saved it as number 3. Now what we will do is we will still have our metadata object. What we will do is we will actually create a statement object. So let me delete these lines of code here for now. So let me create, after I created my connection object, let me create a statement object. And let me create a result set metadata object. Oh, sorry, result set object. The reason I'm creating the statement object and the result set metadata object, I think I've already have stmt declared up there. So let me just do stmt equals to con.create statement. So the reason I'm creating a statement object and a result set object, because this result set object will going to tell me which table I'm loading. And then I'm going to use that table to get the metadata from that table. So that's why I am executing this SQL statement. Then I create my result set metadata, okay? Result set metadata object. Instead of database metadata, I create a result set metadata object. And instead of get metadata, you will say, instead of con.get metadata, you will say result set.get metadata. So because you are retrieving column information on a table that comes from a result set instead of from the database itself. Now you run a loop, and that loop will going to traverse as long as there are columns to be read. So this loop will continue as long as there are columns available in the result set, metadata. And this is something that we already learned in the previous example as a refresher. So if I run this program, however much I've done, notice what it does. It grabs the names of the fields that I created. Instead of me having to sit there like I did in my previous examples, where I literally manually wrote the names of the fields, now I don't have to write them. I'm retrieving the names directly the way they are in the database. Now towards the end, after /t, each column will going to be separated by a tab, and outside of the loop, I can then do system.out.println to create a new line after all columns are printed. Now since there's only one line associated with the for loop, I don't have to have curly braces. So they're not required. So I can basically reduce my code to this. What I want to do next in the same example is right underneath that, I want to display the values of each column. So while my result set object dot next. So as long as my result set object, because previously I was looking into result set metadata. Now I'm saying as long as my result set object has values, so here I use my nested loop. So what I did over here is what I'll explain in just a minute, once everybody is done with this. So my first for loop here in line number 28 and 29, that is traversing through my result set metadata. That result set metadata is actually based on my result set, which is querying this table and grabbing these fields. So result set metadata will simply give me the column names as long as there is a column count. So it just keeps displaying one name at a time on the same row because I'm not /n, I'm /teen them. Right after that, I go through my result set and I say, keep looping as long as result set has the data. Okay? Now what I'm doing is, I want all my data items to be printed on the same line. So this for loop says, starting from 1, keep looping as long as there are a number of columns. So for each column, I'm grabbing a value from result set. So the whole point of having this for loop is so that I can place as many values in every line as there are columns. So this line number 34, runs from 1 through the length of the columns. Every time it runs, we grab one value from result set. Now in the previous examples, we used to say result set.getString and result set.getDouble. Since these are a mixed set of values, and all values are of type object, therefore there is a generalized method that you can use of a result set called getObject. It can retrieve value of any type. And then since we're only displaying it, so we can just simply display it that way. So this generalizes the code and reduces the code. And if you compare this one with the one that we previously wrote, like this one, you will notice that there's a lot of manual work over here. Over here, so I may have to have a /n right after the for loop. To take care of more than one lines of output, so the next output goes on the next line.